of everyone's time. Thank you for joining. Good morning, everybody. I'm Steve Garetta, VP of Marketing at Rigado. I'm joined by Janelle Kreiner from Microsoft, and we are really excited to share with you the latest in enterprise IoT. We've got an exciting presentation and live demonstration for you. We're going to try something a little different today. As you can see, I'm in our office environment, right outside actually our elevator lobby here. We're going to have some fun with the sensor demo in a little bit. But first, I want to kick things off by welcoming our guest, Janelle. Janelle, good morning. Why don't you say hello to everyone?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today.
So Janelle is our digital sales lead from Microsoft. She's an IoT specialist. She's going to share some really good perspective from Microsoft and what they're seeing in the IoT market. Before we get to that, just a couple of logistical items. We have, as usual, our Zoom Q&A panel. So if you have a question, go into the Zoom Q&A panel up above, not the chat, but the Q&A, so we can moderate questions and sort them and address them as groups if needed. We will record the presentation. We're recording this. It will be sent to everybody. We won't send out the slide pack, but you'll be able to see it within the presentation. And as always, if you have any questions, either now or after the presentation, you can reach out at contact@rigado.com. We'll also share the emails for Janelle and myself if you have something specific you want to address with us. And with that, let's get into the presentation. So in terms of topics, we're just going to do a real quick intro for those that are new to Rigado and talk about our solutions really quickly before we get into Janelle's presentation, which is around the demand for IoT edge sensor networks, talk about our partnership a little bit. And then I want to get into a demo of our integrated solution, our sensor edge network demo, what we do with IoT Central, IoT Hub, and applications that are northbound of that. So that'll be kind of a fun interactive session, hopefully. And then we'll get to Q&A after that. And like I said, if you have anything that comes up during the presentation, feel free to drop them in and we'll address them as quickly as possible. So with that, why don't we hop right to it? And the first thing I want to do is introduce or reintroduce, as the case may be, Rigado to the audience here. So Rigado specializes in delivering sensor data to the cloud. We tend to focus on low power wireless sensor networks. We do a lot in Bluetooth low energy, everything from temperature, conditions monitoring, air quality, asset tracking, people traffic sensing, occupancy and space utilization. There's a whole lot of different things you can do with a sensor network that is powered by Rigado. And we integrate sensors either through partners that we selectively work with, or for a lot of our customers, a custom sensor. They may have a sensor that they want to bring on board, but they need connectivity to the network. That's what we help do. And that's kind of the center part of this slide, the edge network. We have something called Edge Connect that runs in a Docker container. It can sit on the Wi-Fi network. It can sit in a router. It can also sit in a Rigado gateway. So we actually make our own gateway if you need an edge device that provides connectivity. This is something that is part of the integrated kits that we sort of co-created with Microsoft that we'll talk more about later. But essentially, we help onboard sensors onto a network, which then sends data to the cloud. And that's the right part of this slide, where we provide management of that network, and the data that goes directly to the customer cloud comes into, say, Azure in the form of MQTT, HTTP, whatever format you need it in, Rigado will get it there for you. And so what we're going to talk about today is how we've made this whole end-to-end network plug and play, so that if I take a sensor, like I have in my hand here, a little occupancy sensor, and I activate it, turn the power on, it's going to just immediately start sending data into the cloud. And you, the audience here, hopefully a lot of you are solution providers, systems integrators, maybe you're an MSP or an end customer, and you just want to start building dashboards and setting up alerts and integrating data into your BMS or whatever. We help do that. So a little bit on our Cascade Gateway there, because a lot of people like to start with that as a way to build out an IoT network. That's what this device that I have in my hand. I'm actually holding the LTE version of it. You can see the little antenna there. Everything we do is Azure certified. We're really proud of that. I think we're the company with the most Azure certified integrated devices when we talk about the sensors that our partners make and that we put in that library. So we're all about bringing sensor data to the cloud. We do that in a variety of market spaces. So what you'll see here, hopefully in the demo later, is that things like occupancy sensors and temperature sensors can be used to prove a concept in almost any type of commercial space. Smart buildings like the office that I'm sitting in here, could be retail, could be a warehouse, could be hospitality, hotels. So it's what we really like to do is power our customers to go and create that capability in whatever space that they're servicing. So if you're a solution provider and you're building something custom for an end customer, we'll work with you behind the scenes to just make that happen. If you're an end customer and you actually want to build something in-house for a space that you're managing, we can do that as well. And you can see examples of some of the partners we work with there on the right. Lots of case studies we have to share. There's plenty on our website. I have a few here in the slide deck that we might get to later. But we've seen a lot of growth and had a lot of great experience in a lot of that carpeted enterprise. And as our partnership has expanded with our Edge Connect going on to devices such as Cradlepoint, we're now able to power mobile use cases with assets that are in transit, as an example, or transit systems themselves. And just to give you an idea of the sensor ecosystem that we work with, and I just want to make it really clear that Rigado doesn't build and manufacture different sensors. There are a lot of different companies that do this, and they're really good at it. And they work in a variety of spaces. And what we do is we partner with them to make onboarding these into the Azure cloud easier. So as an example, I held up the occupancy sensor here. I've got a little asset tag here. This is the Menu E8. You see it listed there under asset tracking. I've got this larger device, which is a people sensing camera, the Hella APS-90E. So all these devices, we sort of work in a partner ecosystem so that when partners come to us and say, hey, do you have anything that does power monitoring or leak detection? We can say, yes, you should look at this as an example. And we also, like I said, do a lot of custom sensor integration. So these are just a few of the examples. I'll be demoing these later in action, but just to get a sense of the type of use cases you can achieve with the Rigado partner ecosystem. So with that, I want to bring in Janelle because she's going to really talk about what's going on macro level in the world of IoT. I'm going to continue to drive the slides, but Janelle, why don't you take it away and tell us what you're seeing from the Microsoft perspective?
Thank you very much, Steve. So for everybody on the call, what I wanted to do is level set on what IoT is and why we are really focused today on smart spaces. And then how we get started, because our partnership with Rigado is super important to Microsoft as we pursue the whole value proposition of intelligent edge to cloud computing for IoT. Because we really do believe that IoT can unlock great business impact for all of it, for everybody. And it doesn't really matter what business you are in. It can help you optimize your customer experience. It can automate complex business processes. It can help you collect data and analyze it. It can predict operational and supply chain needs, and it can meet sustainability goals. So a powerful edge to cloud solution is what's critical to enable this for businesses. But I will tell you that we have invested $5 billion into developing solutions in our partner ecosystem to be able to enable our customers to adopt IoT. And we interview our customers and partners every year. And with now 3 years into the journey, we publish a report every year so that we can better invest the $5 billion and make it easier and quicker so that people can rapidly deploy IoT and achieve the benefit. So next slide, Steve.
Yep.
So what did we find? It's called the Signals Report, and I'm happy to supply this, that you can find it on our websites if you guys are interested. But what's really happening is we are predicting that there will be 80 billion connected devices generating 180 zettabytes of data by 2025, which is just I can't even imagine what 180 zettabytes of data looks like. And I used to do advanced analytics, big data for a living. But this is really the trend. And what we're hearing from our clients and our partners is that really it's just too complex. 43% of our organizations say they feel overwhelmed. They start with the POC, but then how do I go from POC to production, right? That's always a challenge. And then the lack of expertise in infrastructure. So we have been laser focused at Microsoft in developing partnerships with what we consider the premier IoT partners to develop partners that can help you go faster and achieve success. I mean, a typical custom grown IoT projects takes 18 to 24 months. Nobody has 18 to 24 months. Things change too quickly now. We're going at the speed of light. So we need to be much faster and more agile. We need to have partners who really know how to help. In addition, we find that there's no end-to-end adoption for a plan on how to get there. So we need partners that can help you with develop a plan. And then security. Security is key, top of mind, especially we've seen all these security breaches. So we need to be very secure from the device to the edge gateway all the way to the cloud. So that's what we really focused on. So next slide, Steve.
And by the way, I highly recommend IoT Signals. It's a great report. It's a free download, and it gets updated maybe every quarter or every 6 months, but it's great. Yeah.
I highly encourage you to take a look at it. There's a lot of learnings from our large IoT partners and customers. Now, today we're really starting to focus on smart building. So I just want to level set. What is a smart building, right? We want to automate the building process so that users have a better experience. And this includes all of the systems within a building. And we want to monitor the performance of the critical building systems. And we want to collect data. So who's really going to benefit from a smart building? Everybody. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. A smart building solution is ubiquitous across every industry and every type of user. And it's a great place to get started. In fact, we see many of our clients start with smart building solutions. So next slide. Steve mentioned this earlier, and I just wanted to highlight this. A smart building isn't just a single building. It's not just a factory. It could be an ecosystem of your campus. It could be a shopping mall. It could be a school building. It could be hospitals. Smart buildings take so many shapes and sizes that we want to have the ability to develop very quickly IoT smart building solutions that can scale. So you can start with one room or one floor, but quickly grow it across your entire enterprise. Next slide.
Yeah, and Janelle, this is a really important point, because when a lot of times we talk about smart buildings and we think of the office only, because we all have experience in offices. And so the buildings that we go to every day are offices, but it's really much broader than that. And that's what we're really excited about with our solution, is thinking of buildings as being really anything that is a physical space that has commercial activity happening in it.
Yes. And I will say, in comment that COVID has really changed everything. I mean, the demand is increasing for IoT solutions that address our changing world. And this has been driven by the pandemic. And I can tell you almost every company I talk to in Microsoft is interested in how can I enable this? I mean, if you look at it, it is a huge growth market for smart building technology, an $85 billion estimated TAM. And that's for our partners who are developing solutions, and that's why we're here today, but also for our customers that are developing it. And we're seeing some humongous numbers on, 30% expected increase in smart building technologies, and huge as we all try to go towards green, right? And be more energy efficient. I'm in Dallas today and it's 104 degrees down here and we've had nothing but heat and no rain. I mean, if we can figure out together how to save 15 to 25% of our energy costs and savings, that is huge for our grid and for the environment. So there's huge savings to be had by doing this if we're smart about it, and we can enable you to do it quicker. So it's all about speed versus the traditional, I want to build it myself. It's going to take a lot of time based on the signals report, and I'm 18 to 24 months out. So that's really what our partnership with Rigado is about, is how can we go faster? So the next slide.
Yep.
So really, what does it take to build one of these? When Steve and I started talking, we're like, we need to make this easier. We can't have a customer say, I want to collect data. Now I'm going to aggregate all the data together. I want to build dashboards to be able to analyze the data. And then I'm going to do stream management to then start maybe doing trouble tickets so that maybe an HVAC service repair can come by and repair something. So we really looked at how could we create something to make it enable you to go faster. So the whole idea is, as Steve mentioned, plug and play. We want to make this as frictionless and easy as possible, but also customizable so that you, as either a partner or a customer, can grow this to hit your environment. So as Steve said, not just a building or a floor, but your entire campus or your entire enterprise. So that's what we're really focused on with the solution that we're rolling out today with the Swift kits, is to make it an easier, seamless experience. And we're using, the Azure Cloud and IoT Central and the Microsoft Intelligent Edge in partnership with Rigado to allow you to achieve more quickly and return benefits to your enterprise. So with that, I'll turn it over to Steve so we can get into the fun stuff and start looking at how we can work together.
Well, I titled this next section, and thank you for all that, Janelle. Really insightful. And I titled this section, Let's Build It, because a lot of times it's daunting when you see these huge numbers and this massive market growth in IoT, and then you see, everybody's taking, 18 to 24 months to actually get a project off the ground. And so what we've done is work with Microsoft on some key stepping stones so that people can start small, but move quickly into something that is actually production ready. So for a number of you, you've probably seen us before talk about the Swift kit for Azure IoT. I'm going to do a quick review of that, but also show you how it's evolved into something more than just here's a gateway with some sensors. We're going to show you how you can actually scale that up and add different applications on top of it. So if you've seen the Swift kit before, this might be a little bit of a review plus some new stuff. If you've never heard of this before and you're completely new, I'm going to go through it quickly. So if you have questions, again, throw them out or hit us up later and we'll talk you through it. But essentially what we've done with the Swift kit for Azure IoT is take a lot of these concepts of wireless sensor networks, edge connectivity, and integration into the cloud and make it into a plug and play kit that is a no-code solution. Essentially, we want you to be able to take a device like this that I'm holding in my hand, plug it in, and within a few minutes have a dashboard that is showing real-time occupancy, temperature alerts, asset status. So we're going to walk through a few examples of those live, but I want to show you a little bit how we built that, because it is interesting to see the tools that Microsoft has provided to make that happen and the work that Rigado has put into it. So typically with the Swift kit, if you order one, you get from Rigado the Cascade Gateway device, which I've shown here, with LTE service so that you can just plug it in anywhere. You can plug it in at home, you can use it in the office, you can take it on the road if you need. You can use it with Ethernet, obviously, but we'll give you 90 days of LTE to get started. And we can use any of these different integrated plug and play sensors to get the idea off the ground. And I have a quote here from our friend James Berg at Origin Housing, one of our original kit users. And we've had a lot of people that had a similar experience where they were just able to quickly get started, on board with the wizard that we provide, and get going with workflows and data exports, and even do advanced stuff in Power BI and elsewhere. So that's what a lot of this demonstration is built on. The way it works is we've done everything up front for you to make that experience plug and play and no code. So these are all Azure certified devices. If you go into the device catalog for Azure, you'll see a bunch of devices that Rigado has certified. And again, we don't manufacture these sensors. We offer them as part of our kits, and you can get them from Rigado. But a lot of times, once you start going into a production build out, you might have your own sensor. You might want to buy them in bulk directly. But we've certified all those plug and play so that you don't have to. And then we connect all that through this gateway device. And there's kind of two scenarios that we support now. One is IoT Central, and IoT Central is a SaaS platform offered by Microsoft that is kind of an all-in-one IoT platform. It does device management, it has dashboards, you can do alerts, you can do reports, and you can export data into other services such as Dynamics 365. Now, when we first created these kits, we used IoT Central exclusively because it was super simple to use, and it really does the job if you don't want to have to do any development at all. If you just want to plug in devices and have one-stop shop, it's a great way of doing that. And I would say still a lot of our kits utilize IoT Central. I'm going to show IoT Central here in a moment. There's another option, depending on your situation, that you might consider, which is IoT Hub. Now, IoT Hub brings in data, and it doesn't have all the dashboards and everything natively, but what you do with that is you export it using perhaps an event grid, webhook export like I'm showing here. And we can then send data to other applications like Dynamics, or in the case I'm going to show today, Locent, which is another IoT visualization platform. Now, of course, the thing to note in both of these pictures, everything on the left side is the same. You've got sensors, you've got the Rigado Cascade Gateway, you've got Rigado Edge Direct, which is kind of behind the scenes orchestrating a lot of this stuff and doing the setup wizard when you get your email after you buy your kit that says click here to set everything up. So we take care of everything on the left, and then really the key question is, do you want to use IoT Central, which most people do to get started, and then eventually they may say, well, we want to tie this into IoT Hub, or we want to send the data somewhere else completely. Can we do that? And of course, the answer is yes. So as I jump into the demo here, keep that in mind. I'm first going to show a demo of IoT Central, and then we'll get into the IoT Hub example, again, using all the same sensors and edge network. So with that, I'm going to switch over to my browser here. And let me hide a few windows. Okay. So hopefully you see my IoT Central device list, and there's a whole different demo we've done in the past on these webinars that show me plugging in the gateway and going through the setup wizard, and that takes a few minutes. It's really easy to do. I'm not going to spend time here reviewing it because we've done it before. There's recordings of that webinar, but suffice to say, it's really straightforward. And what you end up with is typically a list of devices. If you're familiar with IoT Central and the concept of device templates, you can see all these different templates for the devices that we offer with the kit. Things like push buttons and air quality sensors and temperature sensors. So all of these, this is a kit that I've already set up. I've built it into my my dashboard here, which I'm going to show. And just to give you an example of how the plug and play aspect of it works, I'm going to power on a new sensor that I have here. So this is our RS40 occupancy sensor. It's a little PIR sensor, really good for things like desk occupancy or conference room occupancy. And this one has the little plastic tab on it. So let's say you ordered a kit and we shipped it out to you, it'll come with this plastic tab, which keeps the battery from turning on. So we don't waste battery while it's sitting in stock. So this is the RS40. And if I go in here, you can see I have a bunch of them already created for different conference rooms here in the office. We've literally created the smart office here. I'm going to unplug this one, and we hopefully should see it flash. So the battery has been activated. It's flashing. And now it's going to talk to the gateway that I have running here in the office. And we should see it appear in this device list as a new device that we can start working with. And I'm going to move my browser here. And so it's going to onboard. You see this little banner here says updates available. So I'm going to refresh. And now I've got this new device. So already what's happened is the device came on, it's talking Bluetooth low energy to a gateway here. And it's gone in, it's registered. Again, because we have a template that we've created ahead of time, it's all plug and play. I can go into IoT Central, I can rename it. and let's just call this new desk sensor. I'm going to save that. And you can already see some telemetry. Now, there's some old stuff in here because I've kind of simulated this before a week ago, but you can actually already see that information is coming in that tells me things like the occupancy state is true because it sees me here waving at it. So just like that, we've created a new device. And now I can start to do interesting things with it. I can create a dashboard if I want. So I've got a dashboard already here in our office that is doing some cool stuff with our refrigerator sensor, and I've got a door sensor I'm going to show in a minute. But just to show you, I can create a dashboard visual with the sensor that we just onboarded. So I like to start with the device. This is my RS40. You'll see that the device that I just created, new desk sensor. And I can go in and say, hey, I want to create a dashboard around, let's say, occupancy state. I want to know if I want a dashboard widget to see if it's occupied or not. And so I'm going to add that tile and threw it over here. Now, a time series graph of occupancy might be interesting, but I might want to just know the last known value. And of course, it's true because last time this thing saw is true. I can go and kind of direct this away from me. And in a few seconds, once it updates, it's going to say that that's no longer true. While that happens, why don't we dig into the rest of this dashboard that I've already created here. I've got a refrigerator with the door status. So what's that all about? Well, this is where I'm going to step away from my desk because we've got kind of an interesting environment over here that is going to actually have our little mini fridge. So check out that chiller temp and door sensor. When I open this door, we should see a couple of things happen. One is that door status should hopefully flip to a 1. There you go. And oops, I hit the refresh there. And you'll start to see that the temperature goes up. Oh, and by the way, I also got on my phone a text message, sensor alert from Azure IoT Central saying the door has been opened. So that's a whole nother thing you can do with this is set up a rule, which I've done, to let me know when the door on the fridge is open. And you can use that to monitor all sorts of things, whether it's like the IT closet, whether it's an actual refrigerator that you want to check out, anything that you want to retrofit that might not be a smart device, you can make a smart device now with things like door sensors and temperature sensors, et cetera. Now, how often does the sensor data update? It really is configurable. You can have it update every second, although that can get costly on data, every 30 seconds. Sometimes I back these off to 5 or 10 minutes. By the way, now you see that occupancy sensor is false. So you get an idea here from these basic dashboards in IoT Central, what's going on. I'm going to go close the door over here because I don't want it to get overheated, but you can start to see, the conditional temperature visuals on here, and you start to see this chart going up. So hopefully this gives you an idea of the real-time nature of the sensor network and all the different things you can do with it. I mentioned the rules. I have a door open rule, sends me a text message whenever the door goes open. So it's kind of like some of the things you can do with the smart home, but at a kind of an enterprise level, enterprise scale, and reliability. So again, this has all been within IoT Central. You can, when you get a Rigado kit, or you start to do a proof of concept with us around IoT Central, you use your own Azure account to do all of this. And so you have a ton of control, and you can build your own data exports to other systems. You can tie it in northbound. They have a nice API. And really the thing that we take care of are these device templates so that you don't have to worry about coding up anything to make it work. Now, the next thing I want to show, and this is going to start the transition over towards the IoT Hub example, is people sensing and space utilization beyond just true or false. And this is where I want to start to talk about our people sensing device. This is the Hella APS 90E. It is a stereoscopic people sensing camera, not the type that you would associate with like facial recognition or, you know, a camera that you would see, you know, for security, as much as you would for things like store analytics and space analytics. So it's a GDPR compliant space utilization camera. And I have one installed right above our elevator over there. And you can see I've dashboarded it a little bit, and it's got some information around, you know, how many people are here in the office, how many people have popped in and out, what's the weekly visitor count, what's the peak occupancy. So we can start to chart that status. It's a little bit harder though when you want to show live real-time visualizations in IoT Central. It's designed more for, I would say, industrial monitoring applications and device management than it is for a application that is doing like real-time interactive visualizations. And so for that, I want to move over to show IoT Hub as an example. And so I've taken this entire kit and these sensors and built an IoT Hub implementation using the same data. And you can actually see if I click into my Azure portal here, I'm in an IoT Hub. This is pretty straightforward to build out. Again, it's no code. We've done all the DPS integrations. You just have to create the hub. And I was able to actually do this myself. I'm not a coder. So take it from me, it's achievable if you want to do something like this. And then I created a webhook using our friends from Locent, who have an application platform that is also Azure integrated. So this dashboard that you see here from Locent is a little bit different, right? It is designed specifically for these types of live interactive visuals. And I'm gonna step over in a second and show how that works, but you get an idea here of the temperature, air quality. It's got different types of gauges, much more of a conditional visualization on it. So what I wanna do now is show this people sensor in action, because this is a really hot space. Being able to see actual floor level utilization, zone utilization, how many people are in a zone, in retail, which direction are people headed in when they go into a store, events, this is a big area. So you can see it's already seen 5 people come in. And the way that this works is you kind of paint a line for it to count across, and then you paint the zone for it. So the first thing I want to do is step over into the elevator lobby, and I've got the camera high up above there. You probably can't see it very well, but when I step into this zone, you're going to see that it immediately identifies that zone is occupied. There's one person in that zone, and you'll see it start to count the amount of seconds that someone has been standing in there. So think about this as a customer support service wait area. You can think of it as queue busting. You know, how many people have been standing in a particular line. And once I leave that zone, by the way, it should reset and say, you know, okay, now the lobby is empty. It sees that another person came through. So if you want to track how many people have crossed a certain area, you know, think of when you go into a retail store, especially when COVID first happened, the people that were there with their little clickers, counting people going into the entrance, people leaving at the entrance, you had another person there with a clicker. All that can be automated using something like this, which is integrated. Now that device, this APS90E, is a little heavier device. It's got a lot of edge compute analytics to do all the people sensing and monitoring. So it's an Ethernet powered device, but I actually like to describe that because it shows how we can work with different types of technology. We might have Bluetooth sensors, Wi-Fi sensors, Ethernet sensors, or other types that we can integrate into our system. Also, going down here, I'm going to scroll down and go back to that door sensor example. So in the IoT Central case, the door was a 1 or a 0. Kind of hard to interpret that, you know, into a real nice visual. Here with the Locent platform, when I open the door, you can actually see that it's going to give me a red. It's going to say the door is open. So it's, I think if you're building a prototype for a customer and they want to really have that kind of interactive, you know, nice look and feel dashboard, this is an interesting way to go. And you can also see I did a nice little map overlay here of our office. And I've got my desk, and I actually brought my desk sensor over here so that it kind of looks like I'm at my desk. You can see I've got our fridge temperature in our kitchen. So this is all live data. This is the smart office concept that Janelle talked about earlier, shown in real time. And we use it here. It's great. You can actually go as of now, and I can look, okay, well, show me what was happening, 60 minutes ago, and it'll jump to that time and show you what the status of all these things were back then. So this is just a really interesting way of taking that Swift kit that we created a year ago, based solely on Azure IoT Central. We've now made it really easy to integrate with IoT Hub and brought in some other visualization options so that you can take that to the next level for potential proof of concept, pilot, and ultimately a production development. All these sensors and the gateways, everything that I've shown here are the same devices that we have customers deploying in the thousands. So you can actually start with this, and you don't have to completely rebuild it when you decide you want to go to a production. You just scale it as needs arise. So with that, I want to pause the demo here. We can certainly come back to it if we have questions on it, but I want to go back to the slides here and get to some of the questions. I see we've had a couple of questions come in, and want to make sure that we address those. So one question I see here is, what protocol is used for the connectivity devices, Wi-Fi, Z-Wave, Zigbee? So in this case, most of these are Bluetooth low energy. And in some, and I mentioned that the people sensing device is Ethernet. It also has a Wi-Fi option. We can work with other protocols. Not all of them are natively supported on the Cascade Gateway, but we can certainly support things beyond Bluetooth low energy. What we typically do with customers is, if they have a particular sensor that they want to work with, maybe it's a wire pass sensor, maybe it's a Thread or Zigbee sensor. We talk about what the requirements are, what they're really looking to achieve, and go from there. And also, because our Edge Connect software can run on a variety of edge compute devices, while we may focus on Bluetooth low energy for a lot of the things that we do, we can run Edge Connect on other devices to support other protocols. So there was another question, and Janelle, I might bring you in. Yeah, Janelle is going to answer this question live. How do we partner with Microsoft? Let me count the ways. There's probably a number of paths there, but Janelle, why don't you come in and answer what's a good way to get started with Microsoft?
Yeah, so the best way, so one, I am actually responsible for assisting our partners on our potential partners on a journey to become a Microsoft partner for IoT partners. So I'm more than happy to work with you directly, and I have a team of other folks that are that work with me that we can help you. Also, if you go to our website, if you just Bing, partner with Microsoft, there's a site that you can go and sign up, and it enables you all of the access to the guided journey of becoming a Microsoft partner. So all of the resources are there. You can just check on, once you register, you can check and say what kind of partner you want to be. And then I see, Ray, you can feel free to send me an email and I'll reach out to you after this call. We can connect directly. But yes, I am definitely interested in working with any partner on the call who wants to develop a solution and be a Microsoft partner.
Thank you, Janelle. And I'm gonna just hit two quick case studies. There's, like I said, there's a lot on our website, but just to give you an example of some fun real world stuff we see out there. Brambles is one of the largest supply chain logistics providers in the world. They're using Rigado technology for asset tracking with some large, Fortune 500 companies. This is a big area. I think that logistics, warehousing, shipping, in our ability to track assets at very high scale, either with custom asset tags that they might create, or with ones that our partners have, like this little menu E8 tag, is a really exciting space. And there are a number of technologies that have been in play in asset tracking, RFID, BLE. We're starting to see a lot of adoption of BLE for asset tracking. And again, the benefit that Rigado brings there is that across multiple sites, and now in the case of a mobile truck, we can continue to monitor those assets and through the entire supply chain. So that's one case study we're really excited about. We're seeing a lot of growth there. And then something completely different, which is space utilization and cleaning. Our partners at ABM have built an entire smart cleaning solution where they track the cleaning carts, the staff, occupancy of restrooms, and how often does a restroom need to be cleaned. If I'm the only one here today in our office, because I told everyone I was going to be recording the webinar, so you might want to work from home today. There's not a lot of sense in them coming and cleaning all 4 restrooms on the floor. They can actually just use some analytics and use actual real-time notifications to say, okay, nobody came today, don't worry about cleaning that floor, skip it, etc. So they've done some really interesting optimization of building servicing, and they use a variety of the sensors that we've shown here today to accomplish that. So I'm going to get to a couple more questions, but in case you wanted specifically to look more at the Swift Kit, you can go to our website there. It shows the different sensor options. Setup is a breeze. Takes a few minutes once you actually receive your kit. We have a support team to help with it if you have any questions, and a whole knowledge base that goes into how it works. But again, that's just one of the ways to engage with us. If you have, we have a lot of customers that might be further along in their journey. They've evaluated a few things and they have a sensor that they like and they just need connectivity. That's a different conversation, but we're happy to have that with you. So we're really open to looking at your long-term goals there, and along with Microsoft, design the right type of edge connectivity data collection solution for you. So I'm going to get back to a couple of questions that I see here in the Q&A. One is, what is the recommended approach to the end user technical business? I see Janelle is typing something there. I'll go to the next one while Janelle, you hit that one.
Okay, I just deleted it. We can just address it, Steve. It's probably easier.
Okay. Do you want? I'll let you. You were on a roll there on typing, so I'll let you go for it.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is this kit is meant for also end users, and the reason we've done it together is to make it much easier for you by enabling you to pick whatever sensors you want for the business application. The minute you pull the little tab on them, they wake up and they know how to. And IoT, Azure IoT, especially IoT Central, knows exactly what those devices do and what telemetry is coming off of it. So it's a very guided experience. And as you work with IoT Central, you'll see it's almost a WYSIWYG type of interface. So it's not meant for a true IT professional, somebody like myself or Steve, who maybe we're armchair IoT specialists. We can do this. So it's very easy. Also, Steve and myself, Microsoft, we have a number of systems integrators. So depending on the complexity of your project, we're happy to work with you to select the appropriate one and help you on that journey too. So we have many customers who say, in partnership with Rigado and Microsoft, we want to get a systems integrator because we want to go big right away. And so that's something that we can work with you directly on. Anything else, Steve?
Yeah, I would just add that what we see folks having success with is not necessarily just showing up to a customer, if you're an integrator or a reseller, and saying, okay, here's a bunch of interesting technology, would you like to buy it? It's more of having a conversation where, based on their business, like, what is the problem? What is a business problem that you have that could be solved with IoT or some kind of technology? So in the case of store analytics, it's, well, we have to sit there and manually count everybody that comes in and out of the store. Or we have these old refrigerators and we can't easily retrofit them to track the temperature of these chillers. How do we do that? So I think working backwards from a business problem and then having a conversation with us or Janelle and saying, is there a sensor that can help with this? Is there something that we can actually give this person to address this business problem? That's the kind of conversations we like to have. One other question I got was, what are you recommending to your clients that have poor cellular reception inside their facilities? So there are two approaches to this. One is improve your cellular reception using something like 5G. And this is where Cradlepoint, our partners at Cradlepoint, who have integrated Rigado Edge Connect onto their devices, can help. They have dramatically improved how cellular performance, and 5G in general has dramatically improved what cellular can do inside facilities. But it's not always going to be great. And so what a lot of times our customers will do, and is preferable in many cases, is to onboard Edge Connect or onboard Cascade onto the IT network in the form of Wi-Fi or Ethernet. So you can actually and you can take existing Wi-Fi access points. We partner with all of them, or you can onboard Cascade into it. So you can make IoT and OT sort of converge, IT and OT converge in that way. And that's ultimately the most cost effective, we find, is that instead of installing a whole new separate network of IoT gateways, just run Rigado Edge Connect on the existing network. That's very economical and will get you very good performance. So that takes a little bit longer sometimes because you have to get the IT team enrolled in that process and their security and all that kind of stuff. But we have a ton of experience doing that. And so we found ways to really shorten that cycle. So again, that's another one to have a conversation with us about. We're deployed globally across some of the largest enterprises out there. We scale up and scale it down, and we've seen all sorts of different ways to achieve that network connectivity, whether cellular is the best option or something else is. So I want to thank everybody for those questions. Really good. Thank you for attending. As a reminder, I will send out the presentation, the recording of the presentation. Janelle and I are available if you have questions. You can also reach us at contact@rigado.com. And thank you. I want to thank Janelle for coming on, sharing that perspective from Microsoft. Janelle, any last words on the IoT market or what you see coming soon?
No, I really appreciate everybody's time. IoT is an exciting time. Things are going quicker and quicker. And so if you have any questions whatsoever about business cases or other customer case studies or IoT technology in general, please feel free to reach out to us directly. We'll be more than happy to help you. But thank you again for your time.
Yeah, thank you for joining and for the partnership with Microsoft. Enjoy your day, everyone, and I'll send out the presentation shortly.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye-bye.